Hello everyone and welcome to Golden Nova's First Reacts, where I react first to all the things you want to see reacted to first, as long as I'm the first person you come to react to things first. I'm a little out of my depth on this one, I'm gonna be honest. Normally these things release at 1 o'clock in the morning, but now it's the sun's bright in the sky, Arcana Force is here, and a bunch of other stuff. I was only told that Arcana Force stuff was going to be revealed in the latest live stream coming out of the OCG. They do one of these roughly every core set, and they show off a lot of cards. And I'm seeing, I don't know if you noticed, but one of them here, Gladiator Beast, little treat for me, maybe. I'm looking forward to seeing what the game has in store for us on this one. Let's crack into it, starting with, we're starting with the Gladiator Beast stuff. Okay, Gladiator Beast Gistle, level 3 Earth Beast monster. 1200 attack, 2000 defense. You can only use each effect of the first and second effect of this card once per turn. You can reveal this card and one other Gladiator Beast monster in your hand and special summon both. If this card is special summoned by the effect of a Gladiator Beast, which includes itself, you can add a Gladiator Beast or a Gladiator spell or trap card to your hand. Just a Gladiator! Wait, so that gets the search spell, right? Oh my god, I'm so out of my depths here with remembering names for stuff. Yeah, because Gladiator's Proving Ground. That's what it is, so we can get... And then at this end of battle phase, if it battles, shuffle it back, summon a Gladiator Beast that's not Gistel. Usual stuff. Hi there. This card is just bonkers. Any other Glad Beast, and it'll trigger their effect too because they were summoned by the effect of a Gladiator Beast. Are you kidding me? So you pop something with Murmillo. You get rid of a back row with Bestiari. Jesus. Not Thorax. Secutor is immediately live. Okay. I'm sorry, designers. I wasn't familiar with your game. Test Bear. More test monsters. You can only use the second effect of this card once per turn. If you control a Gladiator Beast monster that was special summoned from the deck or extra deck, you can special summon this card from your hand. Okay, so this kind of, like, I guess sidesteps things like Gistel from just now, or the new Sea Serpent one that also has a summon from hand effect. So you do have to have summon from the deck to summon this out, but what else does it do is the important part. You contribute this card, then shuffle a Glad Beast from your hand or face-up field into the deck or extra to special summon up to 2 Glad Beasts from your deck and treat them as if they were special summoned by the effect of a Glad Beast. Oh, okay. So this is like Super Test Tiger. It grabs from hand 2, and it summons 2 monsters. That's kind of gnarly. I dig that. That's pretty good. It's a lot less immediately launchable than Test Tiger because it just needs to see a Glad Beast. But I can see this putting in some work for sure. Okay, and now we got to look at the fusion Gladiator Beast Claudius. What is that's some kind of like Super Heraclinos. Level 12 Dark Attribute Beast Fusion requires 5 Gladiator Beast monsters. Must be special summoned from the extra deck by shuffling the above cards from your field and or graveyard into your deck or extra deck. Mwah, thank you. Thank you for being relatively or reasonable to summon. If this card is special summoned with the above method, you can conduct your next battle phase. So you're telling me that I get to summon this guy. I get a double battle phase. I get to punch with a bunch of stuff. They cycle through at the end of that battle phase, and then you get another battle phase. Oh my god, I'm gonna cry. This is like every Gladiator Beast effect that I've wanted since Assault came out. Folks, I realize that not all of you are deep in the Nova lore, but Glad Beast was like my first competitive powered deck, okay? I was running Cloudians before this stuff, and then I harnessed the power of the War Chariot, and I could never look back. Stuff like this is the stuff that you would make custom... No, I said the custom card thing. But, like, it's... But, right? Like, it's that kind of stuff. It's that powerful. We're not even done yet. Once per turn, if your opponent activates a monster effect, activate the following effect depending on the player's turn. If they activated it during your turn, special summon a Glad Beast from your deck, and that was summoned by a Gladiator, so you get to trigger its effect. If it's the opponent's turn, special summon a level 11 or lower Glad Beast from your extra deck, ignoring its summoning conditions. I think that also triggers Geyseris, because I think Geyseris just says when it's special summoned. So that's a pop 2. You have things like Domitianus. I think that's level 11 or lower. That's another monster. That's a monster negate. You get Heraclinos. That's so clean. That's so good. That's so good. Okay. The Link monster is Gladiator Beast Darius. Well, that's not right. We already have a Gladiator Beast Darius. What's your actual name? Hold on one second. This is... Hey folks, Editing Nova here. While React Nova tries to figure out what the name of this mysterious Link monster is, I'd like to go over a card that didn't make its way onto the Yu-Gi-Oh! Pro Deck article. Flavius, Arena of the Gladiator Beasts. It's a field spell card. You can only use each of the first, second, and third effects of this card once per turn. It lets you discard a card to add a Glad Beast monster from your deck to your hand, so another Searcher. When an opponent's monster declares an attack, you can special summon a Glad Beast monster from your deck, and if you do, it can't be destroyed by battle, so you just get like a blocker. It's not being summoned by the effect of a Gladiator Beast monster. It's a Gladiator Beast spell card, so you don't get the additional effect. But it is any Glad Beast that blocks you, which is fantastic. And then lastly, during the end phase, if a Glad Beast monster was special summoned from your deck this turn, you can set a Gladiator Trap card from your deck. So if your opponent triggers the second effect, you get to set a Gladiator Trap card during their end phase, so you can use it on your turn. And if you trigger it on your turn, you get to set like a War Chariot, which is outrageous. There's like I had the page pulled up here just a second ago while I was going over the cool cards that you could get with Gimel. I already forgot its name. The new level 3. There's a ton of the spells traps that you can search out with this. But War Chariot's like the obvious one. Let's go ahead and I really should have had this ready way before this. Okay, so the trap cards also include Namakea, which like forces your opponent to attack all of your monsters. So that's very funny. Gladiator Rejection. It's not a trap card, but that's what the level 3 can get, and that's one of the strongest aside from Comeback. Gladiator Beast Charge is like removal, so that's funny. Yeah, so a bunch of really interesting, nifty cards that you can grab with the field spell. But honestly, the fact that it is a field spell that lets you search out any Glad Beast card. It filters cards into your graveyard, so it makes Darius live almost immediately. And then you can grab War Chariot. It's outstanding. I love it, and it's good. It's really good. Okay, let's get back to the React already in progress. Okay, it's Gladiator Beast Darius. It's a Link 2. It's got a bottom and a bottom right, requiring 2 monsters, including a Glad Beast. You can only use the first effect of this card once per turn. If this card is Link summoned this turn, you cannot use monsters as Link material except Glad Beasts. Also, special summon a level 4 or lower Glad Beast monster from your hand or graveyard. If your opponent controls a monster, you can special summon a Glad Beast from your deck instead. And Glad Beast monsters you control cannot be destroyed by battle or effects during your opponent's battle phase specifically. Oh, that's a pretty lame piece of protection. So I don't care too much for this one, but we have a Link 2 that actually extends our play. We do have Dragaces, which I think is a pretty good combat Link monster. And we have Test Panther, which is really good at getting our plays going. But this one just, like, Test Panther shuffles another monster into the deck to summon them out. Darius just summons out a Glad Beast. Hand or graveyard if our opponent isn't set up. From the deck if our opponent does have anything set up. And it also says we can't use anything but Glad Beast as Link material, but we can still make whatever we want, which is good because that means we can make Test Panther or any number of other nasty Link monsters. That appears to be the last of the Glad Beast, but oh my god. Oh my god, these cards are brazy. Gestel is like the best starter the deck has ever seen. Test Bear is it's difficult. It's not so easy. It's not as easy to use as Test Tiger, but if this goes off, it's gonna run over the opponent. Claudius is like double battle phase. This is like a That's so good. And then Darius is just like another Link monster we can use, which I'm pretty happy for. Hopefully... Yeah, this is we can't use anything as Link material except Glad Beast, so we can still use this as like a way to link up into stuff, which is pretty cool. I'm not as jazzed for Darius, but having it in the toolbox is going to be pretty useful. So these Glad Beast cards are... Oh my god. I'm about to play Glad Beast Mill just to put a bunch of Glad Beasts in my graveyard so I can Grave Contact Fusion for Claudius. Good grief. Okay, well, that's awesome. Let's move on to what was billed as the Halloween cards. Hallow, the Festive Ghost of Mischief. Level 4 Dark Fiend. You can only use the first and second effect of this card once per turn. If this card is normal or special summoned, you can activate this effect. Your opponent chooses one of the following effects for you to apply to this face-up card you control. Either this card gains 800 attack for each Fiend monster in your graveyard, or inflicts 500 damage for each Fiend monster in your graveyard to your opponent. Second effect, if this card is destroyed by battle or card effect, you can send one monster your opponent controls to the graveyard. Okay. I guess the joke is the whole trick or treat. You know, you gotta pick either one or the other. I guess it really just does depend on what the board state is. I think most times you would just give it the attack power so you can deal with it with monster removal. But maybe there's times where it's just too big and you don't have that, and you would rather it just burn the damage and leave them with a 0 attack monster on board. Okay, that's kind of goofy. Ween, the Festive Ghost of Candy. Level 4 Light Zombie. You can only use each of the first and second effect of this card's name once per turn. If this card is normal or special summoned, does the same thing as the last one, except it counts zombies. It either gains attack for each zombie in your grave or burns for 500 damage. And if this card is destroyed by battle or card effect, you can special summon a monster in your opponent's graveyard to your field. Okay, so this retaliates by destroying one of their cards, and this retaliates by stealing one of their monsters. Okay. Okay. Oh, it's not cards. It only destroys. It only sends monsters. It doesn't destroy. But this it has to be destroyed to trigger it. But it sends a monster, and this one, if it's destroyed by battle or effect, you special summon. Oh, neither of these say by your opponent. So you could trigger the destroyed by effect thing. Oh, that could be pretty nasty. Okay. These are some neat tech cards, I will say. They're not super powerful, but they will be fun to mess around with. Trick or Treat, normal spell card. Add from your deck to your hand a Hallow, the Festive Ghost of... Oh, Hallow and Ween. Okay, okay. Very funny, very funny. They'll release early in selection pack tricky reception. Okay, so good stuff, good stuff. Okay, we're getting into the Arcana Force stuff. Now, Arcana Force support is always interesting because 90% of the archetype is just garbage. Even if you flip good on the cards, they give you middling bonus effects. It's very frustrating, right? Because you're leaving an additional element of luck on the table when it comes to playing it, but your rewards for playing them either really suck, or they're game-breakingly powerful in terms of the world, which has a turn skip combo on there. As long as you can throw 2 monsters on board every turn, you can just tell your opponent they're not playing the game anymore. And you don't even need an infinite loop to do that. As long as you have a strong enough monster engine to facilitate getting those on the board, your opponent's game is done. They're finished. So any cards that add to that, potentially making that stronger, is concerning, to say the least. Let's see how that all goes. Arcana Force 5, the Hierophant. Level 4, monster has 1500 attack and a defense. Level of 4. You can discard this card. This turn, your opponent cannot activate effects when an Arcana Force monster is summoned to your field, which means there's less interruption for when you summon the world. If this card is summoned, toss a coin, and this card gains the appropriate effect. If it's heads, special summon a level 4 or lower Arcana Force monster from your deck with a different name from the cards that you control or that's in your graveyard. Or special summon an Arcana Force monster from your deck to your opponent's field. Arcana Force 19, the Sun. I know my numerals. Level 7 Light Fairy, you can only use the first effect of this card once per turn. If a monster with a coin tossing effect is on the field, you can special summon this card from your hand. If this card is summoned to toss a coin and this card gains the appropriate effect. If it's heads, set one spell card with a coin tossing effect directly from your deck. And I presume if it's tails, destroy all cards in both players' spell and trap zones. That's along the lines of what I think was the Devil. I think they translated it to the Fiend in the TCG, but both sides of the coin flip helped you in some way or another. So I'm glad to see this is translated to the Sun. That's pretty nifty. Chaos Ruler EX, the Chaos Ruler, a combination of the light and dark rulers, I must presume. Level 10 Light Fairy Fusion monster requires 3 Arcana Force monsters with different names and must be special summoned by sending the above cards from either field to the graveyard. Okay. So by giving our opponent a card with Hierophant, if we flip tails, that still contributes to the summon of the fusion monster. We just need an additional. And the Sun is perfect for it, because if there's a coin tossing effect on the field, you just get to plop it on the board. So this is fairly easy to summon using the newer cards that we have and a few older ones. If this card is summoned to toss a coin and this card gains the appropriate effect. If you flip heads, special summon a level 10 Arcana Force monster from your hand or deck, ignoring its summoning conditions. If it's tails, add a card with a coin tossing effect from your deck to your hand. Hey, once again, no matter what we flip, we're getting something. It just depends on, we're getting something, it just changes on what we flip. And while light barriers in your field zone, your opponent cannot activate the effects of monsters on the that just happens, by the way. Light Barrier, of course, is our field spell card. During the standby phase, you toss a coin. If it's tails, this effect is negated until your next standby phase. But if it's heads, when you summon an Arcana Force monster, choose which effect to apply without tossing a coin. So you just get to pick. And if an Arcana Force monster destroys an opponent's monster by battle, you gain life points equal to the destroyed monster's original attack. That's just kind of boost your life points. That's fine. Okay. So this is... I hesitate to ask, but what is the level of the world? I have to imagine that it is level 10, so you can summon that out for free. But because it ignores summoning conditions, I think it's actually meant to summon a light or a dark ruler to get their effects in rotation. Okay, Surge of Light, continuous spell card. You can only use the third effect of this card once per turn. Number 1, during your standby phase, if you control Light Barrier in your field zone, toss a coin, and if the result is tails, negate this card's 2 and 3 effect until your next standby phase. Wait, so the card gets worse if you have Light Barrier on the board. Because it doesn't make you toss a coin if Light Barrier is not on the board. Okay. Second effect, fairy monsters you control gain 300 attack and defense. Third effect, you can discard a card to add 2 Arcana Force monsters with different names from your deck to your hand. Also, you cannot special summon monsters for the rest of the turn except Arcana Force monsters. Okay, that's fine. This is largely for flavor, because the thing with Surge of Light and Light Barrier is that they only make you flip a coin during your standby phase, but the turn that you play it, all of its effects are just live, so you can make use of it immediately. The important part about this is the one that puts Arcana Force monsters in your hand with different names, so you can effectively do that combo we were talking about earlier. You play Surge of Light, you discard a card, you search out both Hierophant and the Sun. You play Hierophant, no matter what coin toss happens, you're getting another Arcana Force onto the board. You summon the Sun out of your hand because a coin tossing effect is on board. Contact Fuse all of that into Chaos Ruler. This is a 1-card Chaos Ruler the turn you play it, and then maybe you can do more of it if you keep flipping heads after Light Barriers in rotation. I believe because this is not an Arcana Force monster, yeah, Light Barrier will not let us auto get Surge of Light. That's so weird. Why did they do that? I'm flummoxed. I'm really flummoxed here. Okay, Arcana Spread. Normal spell card. You can only use one of these 2 cards' effect once per turn. The first effect, toss a coin and apply the appropriate effect Or if you control Light Barrier, you can choose the effect without tossing a coin instead. I believe that's the same thing with Arcana Reading. So I have another spell card that does that. You can choose to either special summon a level 4 or lower Arcana Force monster from your deck, or special summon a monster with a coin tossing effect from your graveyard. Okay. Another one of those situations where you benefit both ways. That's pretty good. You can banish this card from your graveyard to add a card with a coin tossing effect from your graveyard to your hand. Okay, that's pretty nifty for it. I don't know. I'm not too... I mean, it's support, but it's for Arcana Force. It doesn't do anything. It just doesn't. Like, it was like... Yeah, I mean, I guess I'm glad, right? Because it feels like things swing between being either ridiculously busted Legacy support or not doing anything Legacy support. The last thing I would want is for Arcana Force to become the next U-Bell, for instance. But, man, what's the... I must be missing something. The thing that this allows you to summon out... Because you get a free 3,300 attack monster on board after a pretty simple to accomplish combo. We're gonna pull up the card database really quickly. Let's go. We need level 10 Arcana Force cards. Okay, so it is the Dark Ruler, that is the Light Ruler. Is the World level 9? It is level 8, so we don't summon out the World with this one. Okay, so it's not for that one. It's specifically for summoning out Dark Ruler and Light Ruler. Okay, so Dark Ruler must be special summoned by sending 3 monsters. Okay, so we can ignore all that. When it's special summoned, toss a coin and gains the following effects. If this card can make a second attack during each battle phase, but it does so using the effect to change the defense position at the end of the battle phase. If this card is destroyed, destroy all cards on the field. So those are pretty, you know, those are both pretty good. It's still like a 4,000 body. If it's the Light Ruler, when this card destroys an opponent's monster by battle, if we toss heads, send to the graveyard, you can target one card in your graveyard, add that target to your hand, okay. Or tails, when a spell or trap card or monster effect is activated that targets this card is activated, this card loses exactly 1,000 and you negate the activation, and if you do, destroy it. Okay, so these are fine. Those monsters are just fine. The Light and the Dark Ruler are not exactly carving it up out here on the battlefield, so it's not... Man. See, but that's the thing, right? Like, what would I want out of an Arcana Force series of Arcana Force cards that make them feel powerful? Once again, without the world being an issue. I mean, the world has no summon restriction, so anything that just summons Arcana Forces willy-nilly is going to leave the game open to an FTK by turn skip. So all these things have to summon low-leveled Arcana Force monsters. But even if you special summon low-level Arcana Force monsters, that's still like getting you more material for the world to at least to tribute summon or to have on board once it's been summoned. Man, I don't know. I hope the Arcana Force people are happy with it though. Hopefully there's a sect of people who are looking at this and are figuring out combo lines, ways to play the deck that have never been before seen. Best of luck to you. Meanwhile, I'm A-okay. I'm pretty happy. I may be a little biased, but I'm very, very happy. I gotta dig all my Gladiator Beast cards out now because this is gonna go crazy. Okay, folks, let me know down below. Especially the Arcana Force people, let me know. What do these cards allow you to accomplish that I'm just not seeing? You know, a monster that makes you essentially a free rank 10 does not seem like something to be super excited about, but I could be completely misconstruing something. I already didn't have the highest esteem for Arcana Force anyway. Gladiator Beast heads though, Glads, come on, what are we cooking up here? What's our What's the consensus? Am I overhyping the Glad Beast cards? Am I giving them too much credit? Or is this a new age for our furry fighters? And then I guess if there's anything funky you're cooking up with Hallow and Ween, let me know, because that's really, these cards are just cute. I love them. Thank you all so much for stopping by, and until the next time Konami drops some Siege spoilers, I will see all of you next time. Bye-bye. Today's episode is brought to you by Dragon Shield. Get the sleeves as strong as dragon scales and get 5% off your order by using the coupon code GoldenNova at checkout. It was also brought to you by my lovely patrons, including this month's illustrious Quasar Commanders, Upstairs Media, and Natiel Lee Alexander, Nebula Navigator's 3rd Dynasty, 50 Gigabytes, Ada Basilisk, Adam Zajdel, Owexotoa Hime, Anansi Dragon, Ancient Wizard, Andrew Newman, Battle Axe, Kane Senpai, Chibi Gohan, Christopher Fuss, Clockswork, Comrade Copperbottom, Eric, Frankie, Garland Chaos, Great Big Pillock, Hair Bear, Happy Majin, Harry the Ominous Benefactor, Iron Zero, Iskander 711, Carp, Mana Charge, Marion James E. Picata, Megacombi is entering the Chrysalis, Millennia Asta, Muse Clark, Orozco 09096, Panther J, Pat Poos, Rank 10 Trains, Rebel King Lucifer, Red Eyes Jackalow, RJ the Jank Monarch, the Critic of Innocence, Thievery Coast and the Wizard Moose, Cosmic Crusaders Animasta, Baron Von Titty Sprinkles, Buelcifer, Fish, Beluga Masta, Blitzwolf, Caesar M, Chaz Ghost, Dr. Reaper, R.I.P., Eva Padilla, Hike Boyagian, Herbal D, Ignis Heat, the true Draco Slayer, Kale the Dragon, Kiva in Public, Lobomaru 02, Manga Pages, Matt Simmons, Mick Spoofy, Mike, Nitromo, Not Al Gore, Nyx, Obsidian, Pokemon, Rainer Leong, Rhyme Kairos, Shizuka Nijimura, Sophie, apparently, Stephen Williamson, The Legendary Raven, The Phantom Knights of Shitted Pants, The Gene, Tiger X2476, Weasel King of Weaseltown, and Zaldreka, as well as the wonderful Starlight Explorers you see on screen now. If you'd like to help me in my journey to cover all of Yu-Gi-Oh's archetypes, get my videos early, be a part of these credits and other awesome perks, it would mean the world to me if you would check out the link to my Patreon in the description or consider joining as a YouTube member.